Hey, this is Matt. Once again, welcome back to another video. And this is a paid request for Steven. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, whether it be movie review, re-review, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour or full playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a Cash App as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And Steven wanted me to look at the 1990 film Pump Up the Volume. Now, I have seen this film once before. I guess you would call it kind of a cult film in a way. I know Christian Slater, he seems to be a bit proud of the film, because you can look up some interviews where he talks about it. It's one of those films that I get what it's going for. I get its message. I do like some of the acting in the film. But when I first saw this and then watch it again, it just kind of leaves me with a meh, that reaction. Like, I don't hate the film. I know some people will be partial, or they're very nostalgic, or it just never got me, this film. It never did. And again, I get what it's going for, but I mean, if you want to have a film that talks about how teenagers of that era feel lost and no direction, like Over the Edge with Keanu Reeves definitely is much more of a hard-hitting film. And there's other films about teenagers, even like The Breakfast Club, in a way. They show a group of kids and how, in a way, they're lost and because of their parents and what's going on in their lives. Like that, and the way it's done that story, I enjoyed a lot more compared to this. This one, I like Christian Slater. I've always liked him as an actor from Broken Arrow, which is funny because that has Samantha Mathis, and the two of them before Broken Arrow was in this movie. Samantha Mathis was also after this in the 1993 Super Mario Brothers movie as Daisy, the princess. But Christian Slater, I love Gleam in the Cube. Gleam in the Cube deserves a release on Blu-ray in the US. Why? More than likely, whatever company owns it, I forget what it is probably associated with Disney. I would not be surprised, and if that's the case, well, then that's why. But it deserves a Blu-ray. It deserves a physical release. Just Gleam in the Cube, I really want to watch that film again, because I do remember quite enjoying that film and think it's a bit underrated. But whether he was in Cuffs, that's another underrated film. Like I said, always liked Christian Slater. Even Hard Rain, I think that's a fun movie. Mindhunters, he has a bit role in that, but he's good in that film. He was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. He was in The Name of the Rose with Sean Connery. He's been in a lot of stuff. Now here he plays a student that when he's at school, he's very shy, he's very quiet, he has no friends, he keeps his head down. But at night, in his parents' house, he has a setup where he has his pirate radio station. And he has a fake name, Hard Harry. He has a voice thing, so he hides his voice. He has a theme song, which is Everybody Knows, with Leonard Cohen, which that always stuck out because I think that's a very memorable theme. Everybody knows. Just the guy has that certain voice. I kept thinking I heard this song in Natural Born Killers, but it might have been a different song, but with the same guy, Leonard Cohen, singing it. Ooh, everybody knows. It's a very unique voice, so it definitely fits. And he goes on the radio, and to be perfectly honest, I don't know why other people listen to the guy, and they're so attracted to him. I get the idea that the movie wants us to think that he's a guy that talks in their language and about the loneliness and how there's nothing to do anymore and don't be ashamed about stuff. And so I did that, But at the same time, when you hear like his initial broadcast, it's like, okay, a guy pretending to masturbate. Now, and there are guys, I mean, unless they're gay, and there's nothing wrong with that, but if you're not, I don't know what you get out of listening to a guy pretending or think he's masturbating. I don't get that. I'm sure the idea is that, oh my god, he's doing something you're not supposed to do on the radio. It's supposed to be like Howard Stern. And maybe that's the thing, like trying to be like Howard Stern's shock jock, but maybe because I'm not the guy that listens to that kind of stuff, I'm not the audience for this movie. So perhaps that's where I'm kind of outside of the bubble with this one. But he broadcasts his angst. It kind of just, in a way, it's kind of like a podcast, but you listen to the podcast, he just bitches about the world. And complains about the world and how everything sucks. But then it's like, okay, what is, other than your parents, your dad mostly saying you need to go make friends, it doesn't seem like you have it that bad. Also, when you cast Christian Slater, I don't buy that this guy wouldn't have friends and the girls wouldn't be creaming in their shorts over him because of his looks. Trust me, girls of that age are going to look at a guy because of his looks. And if you're looking like Christian Slater, a lot of guys are, well, guys as well, but a lot of girls are going to go towards Christian Slater. So I wonder if it was like an Anthony Michael Hall type of look to the person. They ought to see why he would be ostracized and people wouldn't pay attention to him, but like Christian Slater? It'd be like if it was Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio. It's not that he gives a bad performance, but it's like, it's kind of a bit hard to believe that he's the outsider with, again, when he's a pretty boy. I mean, that's not a knock. It's just that I bet he didn't have a lot of problem getting the ladies. Just saying, so. But he talks about how there's nothing to look forward to, nobody to look up to. Granted, some of the stuff he says, you could apply that to today. He'll do stuff like he'll call a guidance counselor who expelled a student and you betrayed her trust. And then the guy hangs up on him. He'll play songs that others don't, so he plays like Beastie Boys. It has a good soundtrack. Some good songs in there. And then one day he gets a call from a kid who's very out of it, and he had written a letter about how he's going to end his life. Christian Slater calls, and at first he's like, okay, really, kid? But then he does try to talk to him, but then the kid hangs up on him. And he's like, well, yeah, you hang up on me. Well, who knows, kid, maybe you'll feel better tomorrow. But then he finds out that the kid did end his own life. So he's upset about it. Samantha Mathis is another student who had written poetry letters, and she deduces that Christian Slater is this guy. But she's like, I don't want to tell anyone. I'm not here to narc on you. I'm a fan. And hey, it's not your fault that this kid, Malcolm, did it. You would not have known. And then Slater, when he goes back on the pirate radio, he talks about how, which is a scene I didn't mind, about how you shouldn't be killing yourself. I mean, first off, think of like where you're gonna be left. It's not a pretty sight. You don't have a load in your shorts. Okay, and all the girls and stuff that you will look at you, and now they don't look at you, oh man, oh, I'm sorry he's dead, but you got a load in your shorts, and heaven, I mean, you really want to be in heaven? It's going to be so boring in heaven. So, I kind of like that. I like some of the dialogue in that scene. And then you see that the kids are listening more to the radio, and it spreads. But at the same time, you don't really get like what's going on with the other kids, and it just seems like these kids are just bored. And then they set up stuff, and the thing of it is, it'll set up stuff that doesn't pay off, or stuff kind of randomly appears. I go, where did that come from? So spoilers, like there's a kid who's talking about how he is gay and these kids want him to do stuff, and it's like, I have no issues being gay, but yeah, it's about being pushed and kind of manipulated to doing other stuff. And then Slater goes, I don't know what to do. He's like, well, I guess nobody knows what to do. Hands up the phone. But I swear you never hear from that gay guy again. So you never hear about what happened to him. Was he able to fix his problems? Was he able to overcome his problems? Was Slater able to help him out later? No, I do have an answer for you this time. It's like, maybe people won't care about that, but for me, I'm like, okay, that seems like something set up that's never followed through later. Or, all of a sudden, there's like a teacher punching a student in the face, and then I don't know if the principal or someone is like, you find out there's this big underground, how do you put it, corruption of the school under the school's tutelage, where the SATs and have a high percentage, and so in the first 30 days they expel a lot of kids, and then one of them, I think it's Christian Slater's dad, and then this other teacher, they find out about it, and wait, you're expelling over 30, what was the number? Over 20 students in the first 30 days, and what you're doing is not legal, and I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? This whole corruption. It felt like it was like came out of nowhere. It felt like almost random. And all of a sudden now it's this corruption of the school and devious. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? And then there's stuff like the parents who want to try to talk to Christian Slater, and Slater's like, I can't talk to you. Granted, I don't know how the fuck these parents don't notice that this kid has an entire fucking radio station. I forget if it was the basement or I want to say the basement, but you would think probably have a shit ton of radio equipment to sneak in and buy and stuff. I guess he was able to do all that. And that one time did the parents go, let me check to see in the basement, wherever, of what's going on. And oh shit, there's all this radio equipment. But we've been hearing all this stuff about this kid, with a pirate radio. And the fact, maybe the parents look really stupid. Maybe that's the point. And then you never get the reaction of them finding out that their kid is the pirate radio guy. You never get the reaction. Never get will Christian Slater and the parents, will they make up? Will they begin to understand each other? Will they not begin to understand each other? Same with there's this teacher. I want to say she was like a writing English teacher. We see her one or two times early on, and then she has listened to the pirate radio station. She seems to like what's going on. She gets mad at a teacher for punching a student in the face, which is, a natural reaction to be, mad at that. But then she gets fired. And then one of the first people she talks to is Christian Slater. And I didn't know, you two had a connection where she had to go to you, Slater, to tell, hey, I had to talk to you, and by the way, I thought I could change things, but, I got fired. I mean, I know there was one or two scenes, but I didn't think that you guys were that close of friends, because it didn't seem like you two. And then I'm like, okay, does she know that he's the pirate radio guy? But it doesn't seem like she does. But it seems as if we need to have her to tell Slater this, so Slater realizes, oh my god, things are going even more crazy. Even this teacher got fired. But you don't even have the teacher realizing, oh my god, he's the guy I've been listening to the whole time. It's been you the whole time. It just seems like these are scenes that would be important for the story, especially for the resolution. Because the second half is just the school's getting more rebellious. You have the Samantha Math is a Tristan Slater where he tries to push her away and she's like fine, but then he grows up and apologizes and decides to do the show again. Then they can't do the show here, so they go in a Jeep. Something screws up, so he can't change his voice. So he's like, I'm going to use my real voice. And he tells about how surviving as a teen is the point. And seize the air, steal it, make your voices be heard, which is an important idea, don't get me wrong. But it's, you don't really get a sense of the other kids, of what they're going through and what's happening to them. Again, the corruption of the school seemed out of nowhere. I mean, where did that come from? I don't know if there was stuff cut out, or they just decided to put that in to make the establishment more of a villain. And then at the end, Christian Slater and Samantha Mathis get arrested, but you don't know what happens to them. Because he just goes to the crowd, talk hard, they get arrested, and then the idea is you hear that a lot of other people are starting their own pirate radio stations. And I guess, podcasting is born. So everybody has a podcast. But I don't know, it's just that it was really hard to get a sense of like what these kids were really complaining about, because it didn't seem like the kids like were really in. It didn't seem like they were not in that bad of a situation. Other than, okay, the father says, "Hey, it'd be nice if you got into this club or this school," and a parent being worried that, hey, you haven't made friends, and what, isn't that something we tell parents, pay attention to your kids? Because you think about the kids that become fucking. I think what it is, when you look at like the school system nowadays, and you see just like how dire it can be with all the mass school shootings, that alone, this just seems like such a nothing burger of what they're going on compared to, the real life that would sadly become much more apparent in the years to come after this. I mean, the reason the guy ends his life, he just says he's lonely. And the guy did a good job emotional-wise, and I get sometimes that's enough. I sadly do understand that, but it just. Well, I get it, what it's trying to do, but I just didn't think it was enough. And I just, with the way it's done and how vague certain things are, and it wasn't as hard-hitting as it could be, or wasn't as intense as I thought it could be. I don't think the show itself, him fake masturbating multiple times, I don't think it was that compelling of a show that I don't know if kids would have been listening to and giving a shit. But okay, that's stupid, and then they think about something else. I don't know. And again, like Slater, I don't buy this guy not being popular. I think just the way his vibe, his looks and stuff. The girls alone would have been following him on their fucking hands and knees and shit. Good soundtrack. But yeah, it just. Honestly, I just didn't find it that compelling of a story. And to be quite frank, I was bored for a good chunk of this movie. When I first saw it and watch it now, I was bored. I know that's not a popular opinion. I don't give a fuck if it's an unpopular opinion. It's my opinion. Again, I've named a bunch of Christian Slater films I like. I could go through his filmography. I'll do this right now. Once I just Firefox, that's the update, of course. As soon as I turn it on, Firefox, that's the update. Fuck it. So, can you update? How about you update my dick in your mouth? How about that? There's your update. How about that? Okay, can I get the fucking thing now? And can you give me the fucking thing I asked for? Is that okay with you? Okay, and can I go over here? Since people are waiting. Okay, and I go over here. So, it was kind of ironic. The whole one person having the kids rise up was done in a way. In the first film, he was in The Legend of Billie Jean, so it's kind of funny. Heathers I Like. That's a film that you want to talk about that tells about the teen angst, but done in a much more interesting way, done much more of a darkly humorous, intriguing way that pulled me into the story. Heathers I Like. Heathers I enjoyed much more than this. And once I get my glasses on, I'd tell the rest, but Heathers I do quite enjoy. I love my dead gay son. Winona Ryder and Slater, I think they all did a good job. Gleam in the Tube, he had a tiny bit role in Star Trek. His Cuffs I enjoy. True Romance is good. Broken Arrow. Hard Rain. Mindhunters. I mean, no one could save Alone in the Dark and Hollow Man 2. And he's been in a lot of shit lately. I mean, Bullet to the Head was pretty bad. Hot Tub Time Machine 2. And a bunch of stuff you never even heard of. Freelance, the film with John Cena, which I already forgot he was in. And I reviewed that not too long ago. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what about, like a film called Chupa, some Netflix thing about a dog, whatever the hell. Yeah, I know he was in some direct-to-video films like Assassin's Bullet with Donald Sutherland. I think he was in El Gringo with Scott Adkins. I don't think I ever saw that film. He was in a film called Soldiers of Fortune with Sean Bean and Ving Rhames. I never saw that one, so anyway, going off tangent. So if it's your cup of tea, cool, that's fine. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's just not for me. But have at it if you want to give it a look. Check out the trailer, check out the marketing, always make up your own mind. This is just my own mind. So never mind. But thanks for watching, take care. Thanks once again to Steven, and I know the director also did Empire Records, which I've heard good things about. I never saw that film, actually, but I have heard of that movie. Or if I did see it, it was once and I don't remember a thing about it. But anyway, that's the only other thing that the director, Alan Moyle, that I've heard of that he's done. And apparently Seth Green is in this, but I didn't notice him. So either he was... I mean, this is around the time of Stephen King's It, so he would have been just a kid. So I didn't notice him. But in the credits, it said Seth Green was in this as Joey. Now, I don't know who that was. I missed him. So he wasn't a big, important character, but anyway. But apparently Seth Green is in this like a teeny bit role. Again, this is when he was a kid. But with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye-bye for now.